If you are over 60 and you drive, what I am about to tell you in the next few minutes could be the difference between keeping your license and losing it completely. Starting tomorrow, 4 significant driving law changes come into effect across the United Kingdom, and the drivers most directly affected, the ones with the most to lose and the least amount of time to prepare, are drivers over the age of 60. These are not minor adjustments to road signage or small updates to the highway code that you can skim through and forget about. These are fundamental changes to how your license is assessed, renewed, and potentially revoked. And the reason most people sitting at home right now have no idea this is happening is because these changes have been buried in government documentation announced through official channels that most ordinary drivers never monitor and covered by mainstream media only in passing. The drivers who find out tomorrow when they walk into a DVLA office or get pulled over are going to be the ones who wish they had watched this video today. So if you are over 60, if you have a parent or grandparent who drives, if you work with older drivers or care about someone who depends on their license for their independence and their livelihood, please stay right here because every second of what follows matters. Welcome to How to Get a UK Driving License Step by Step, the channel dedicated to giving every driver in the United Kingdom the clearest, most accurate, and most up-to-date information about licenses, road law, and everything connected to your right to drive. Whether you are working toward your first license or you have been driving for 40 years, this channel exists to make sure you are never caught out by a change in the law that nobody told you about. If you are new here, please subscribe right now and turn on your notifications because content like today's video is exactly why this channel exists, to get you critical information before it affects your life, not after. Now, let us go through these 4 changes one by one with the detail and seriousness they demand. The first change coming into effect tomorrow involves the medical self-declaration process for drivers over 60 who are renewing their licenses. Until now, the process for older drivers renewing a standard car license at age 70 and beyond involved a self-declaration of fitness to drive. Essentially, a form where drivers confirmed they were not suffering from any medical condition that would impair their ability to operate a vehicle safely. What changes tomorrow is that this self-declaration process is being replaced and significantly enhanced with mandatory third-party medical verification for drivers in specific age brackets and for those who have had certain conditions flagged in previous renewal cycles. What this means in practical terms is that simply filling out a form and ticking boxes will no longer be sufficient for a growing category of drivers over 60. You will need documentation from your GP or a registered medical practitioner confirming your fitness to drive. This sounds straightforward until you factor in the current state of GP appointment availability across the NHS. Getting a GP appointment quickly enough to meet renewal deadlines is a genuine logistical challenge for millions of people, and drivers who do not begin this process well in advance of their renewal date risk a gap in their license validity that makes them illegal to drive during that period. The reason this change is being implemented is directly linked to road safety data that the Department for Transport has been compiling over several years, showing a correlation between certain age-related medical conditions and an increased risk profile in specific driving scenarios. The government's position is that self-declaration is no longer a sufficient safeguard and that independent medical verification provides a more reliable picture of a driver's actual fitness. Whatever your view on that policy argument, the practical reality for anyone affected is the same. You need to know about this change before it catches you out, and you need to start the process of getting your medical documentation in order without delay. The second change affects something that millions of drivers have in their wallets right now without realizing it may no longer be valid in the way they believe. This change relates to the photocard driving license and the requirements around keeping the photograph current. The rules around photocard renewal have been tightened as part of tomorrow's changes, and the enforcement mechanisms connected to those rules have been strengthened in a way that gives police and DVLA officials more authority to flag and act on licenses where the photograph is considered significantly out of date. The current guidance has always stated that the photograph on your photocard driving license should be renewed every 10 years, even if your license itself does not expire. What changes tomorrow is that for drivers over 60, the renewal period for the photograph is being reduced, and there are new provisions that allow roadside checks to result in a formal requirement to update your license photograph within a specified time frame or face a financial penalty. For drivers over 60, this matters for a very specific reason. Many older drivers renewed their photocard license years ago and have not updated the photograph since, operating on the reasonable but now legally outdated assumption that as long as the license itself was valid, the photograph requirement was a formality. Under the new framework, that assumption creates a vulnerability. If you are over 60 and you cannot remember the last time you updated the photograph on your driving license, this is something you need to check and address immediately. The process of updating your photocard photograph is not complicated and can be done online through the DVLA portal, but it requires your current license details, a suitable digital photograph, and a small fee. The important thing is to do it before you are flagged for it rather than after. The third change is one that has generated the most concern among driving instructors, road safety campaigners, and older driver advocacy groups, and it involves vision testing requirements. Currently, the vision standard required to hold a driving license in the UK is the ability to read a number plate from 20 meters in good daylight, with corrective lenses if worn. This standard has been in place for many years and has been widely criticized by ophthalmologists and road safety experts as being insufficient to identify vision-related impairments that genuinely affect driving ability. Tomorrow's change introduces a supplementary vision assessment requirement for drivers over 60 at the point of license renewal. This assessment goes beyond the number plate test and includes checks for peripheral vision, contrast sensitivity, and the ability to adapt to changing light conditions, all of which are known to deteriorate with age and all of which have documented connections to driving risk. What this means for drivers over 60 is that at your next renewal, simply being able to read a number plate is no longer the complete picture. You will need to pass a broader vision check, and if your results fall below the new thresholds in any of the assessed areas, your renewal application will be referred for further evaluation before a decision is made. Drivers who currently wear glasses or contact lenses for driving and whose prescriptions have not been updated recently should treat this as an urgent prompt to see their optician before their next renewal date. An outdated prescription that passes the old standard may not pass the new one, and arriving at the renewal process without up-to-date corrective lenses appropriate for your current vision level creates a problem that is entirely preventable with a simple optician appointment. The fourth change is the one that has the most significant long-term implications and the one that older driver advocates have described as the most consequential shift in UK driving license policy in a generation. It involves the introduction of a new framework for what the DVLA and the Department for Transport are calling ongoing license fitness reviews, which give authorities the power to initiate a formal review of any driver's license at any point, not just at renewal, if information comes to light that raises questions about their fitness to drive. Previously, outside of specific medical reporting obligations, a driver's license was essentially unchallenged between renewal periods unless they accumulated penalty points or committed a specific offense. The new framework changes that fundamentally. Under the rules taking effect tomorrow, GPs, hospitals, opticians, and other registered healthcare professionals have a clearer and more direct pathway to notify the DVLA if they have concerns about a patient's fitness to drive. The DVLA then has the authority to initiate a review and to issue a temporary suspension of driving privileges while that review is conducted. For the vast majority of drivers over 60 who are healthy, active, and driving safely every day, this change will never affect them. But for those who are managing health conditions, who have recently had medical procedures, who are on medications that can affect driving, or whose healthcare providers have expressed any concern about their driving fitness, this new framework creates a real and immediate vulnerability that was not there before. The critical takeaway here is that if you have any ongoing health condition, if you are taking any medication that carries driving-related warnings, or if you have had any recent conversation with a healthcare provider about your health that might have implications for driving, you should proactively speak to your GP about your driving status before they feel the need to raise it with the DVLA without your involvement. Being part of that conversation proactively is always better than being the subject of it without your knowledge. Taken together, these 4 changes represent the most significant tightening of rules around older drivers that the UK has seen in recent memory. The message from the government and from road safety bodies is consistent. Driving is a privilege that must be earned and continuously demonstrated, not a right that is granted once and held indefinitely. That message may be uncomfortable for drivers who have been on the road safely for decades and who feel that their experience and track record speak for themselves, but the law does not grade on track record alone. It grades on current fitness, current documentation, and current compliance with the rules as they exist today, not as they existed when you first passed your test. The best thing any driver over 60 can do right now is spend the next 24 hours doing 3 things. Check your license renewal date and calculate whether you are within a window where these new requirements will apply to you. Book a GP appointment if you have any health conditions that could be relevant to the new medical verification process. And book an optician appointment if your last eye test was more than a year ago. These 3 steps take a matter of minutes to arrange, and they could save you from losing a license that you depend on for your independence, your work, and your daily life. This channel exists for exactly this reason, to make sure that no driver in the United Kingdom is blindsided by a legal change that they could have prepared for if only someone had told them in time. If this video helped you or someone you care about, please share it right now because the people who most need to see it are the ones least likely to find it on their own. Like the video so that more drivers across the UK can access this information, leave a comment below telling us how these changes affect you personally, and subscribe to How to Get a UK Driving License Step by Step so that every future update, every law change, every piece of guidance that affects your right to drive reaches you first. Stay legal, stay informed, and we will see you in the next one.